My name is Jenny. I received my undergraduate degree in natural science and health sciences from Damon College, and I received a master's degree in biology from the University of Buffalo.
So how's your day going?
It's going well.
Good.
I practiced my waxing this morning, and now I'm here.
Yeah, so we have a waxing practical coming up. So just a little background information, Jenny's our class president. So she's always busy trying to keep us in check and giving us everything on time.
Yes.
Tough crowd to please. So just to start off, can you give us a little bit of background of what you did before your application? I know you said you're a master's. You earned a master's degree from the University of Buffalo.
Yes, I did.
So how did that go? And did you, before the master's, did you have an idea that you wanted to go to dental school? So you took the master's, or?
I did. So my purpose for the master's degree was to, number one, gain more coursework. I felt like it was important for me to take courses at a graduate level, which was a good transition from undergraduate to dental school.
Yeah.
I received my master's degree in biology from UB, and we also had to do a master's project. My project actually was in the oral sciences department through the dental school, so it was a really also great transition.
So very relevant to your application.
Absolutely, and for me, I didn't do very much research as an undergrad. Like I said, I graduated from Damon College. It's a very small liberal arts school in Buffalo, and the research opportunities really weren't there. And so when I started my master's program and they said you needed to do a research project, my initial thought was, oh gosh, I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
So I ended up in a lab in the oral sciences department, and they trained me in the lab. It was really great. They helped me with a lot of things, so I learned a lot, and it was also very relevant to what we will be doing.
So if somebody's not quite sure, you highly recommend, for example, a master's program just to get you on the right path.
Absolutely, and mine was done in a year, which was great. It was 2 semesters. We did take a lot of courses in that time, so it was very dense. But I still was working as a dental assistant and completing my master's degree. So I think that really taught me a lot of time management skills that are very helpful in dental school, learning how to balance coursework and some outside activities as well.
Sure. So basically, for people that are applying right now, they're very anxious about stats.
Yes.
So can you give us a little bit about some stats about your GPA and your DAT scores?
Sure. My DAT was pink.
So and what about the PAT section?
The PAT is also pink.
Okay, so perfect. And usually, what about your GPA?
My master's GPA was a purple.
Sure, perfect. So how did you prep for the DAT? While you were studying for the master's, were you also prepping for the DAT, or when you were done with the master's, you prepped for the DAT? How did that work out for you?
So I took my DAT before the master's program began.
Sure.
So my master's program started in August of 16. I took my DAT at the very end of June of 2016. So I took my DAT in June. I applied, my application was complete beginning of August. So those DAT scores do take a couple weeks for it to upload and be integrated into the AdStats application.
So it was like the end of August when they really got your interview.
Yeah, so
they started reviewing it.
Absolutely. So my application really wasn't under review until some point in August.
Sure.
Was really when I started to get those emails saying your application is under review. We received everything that we needed because there was that lag time between taking the DAT and having it actually integrated into my application.
Sure. So in terms of like applying to, what were the criteria for your application to the different schools?
So I know that some people applied to say 14 schools. I applied to just a very small handful.
Yeah.
I am a Buffalo native,
yeah.
So UB was something that was very familiar to me. I think that they had a great program, and because of my master's program, I was able to kind of see more about what was actually going on at the dental school.
Yeah.
In terms of the other schools that I applied to, I was really looking at location. Like I said, I'm from Buffalo, so I wasn't applying to schools that were on the West Coast, for example.
So proximity.
Proximity, absolutely. Cost was another thing that I was looking into, and also just other schools where I felt like my stats fell into their acceptable ranges.
Sure.
So what was really a realistic option for me.
That's okay. So what about when you were studying for the DAT, did you use any material? Did you study on your own pace? Did you use some study guides or classes?
I used both DAT Destroyer and DAT Bootcamp. I felt like Bootcamp was really helpful, especially for the PAT. For me, I felt like I had a decent number of science classes under my belt, so I really needed to do practice problems. So I did do some review, absolutely, of all the material, but I felt like really hammering down on practice problems is what I needed to do. DAT Destroyer was great for that reason because there were a ton of science questions that you could answer, and I felt like the difficulty level was also very similar to the difficulty level of the DAT, which was very important. DAT boot camp as well had a lot of great practice problems, and like I said, for the PAT, I thought that it was very, very helpful.
So like the destroyer, that's a very popular choice for most applicants now. The destroyer and the boot camp, the combo.
Right.
Okay. So like when we were talking, you said you actually were a dental assistant. So when did you start doing that? And did it start as a shadowing and then went to dental assisting, or you just applied to dental assistant from the start?
So I did some shadowing with my dentist actually in the beginning. I had, a good number of hours just shadowing him. But when I applied to be a dental assistant, I was taken on as a dental assistant from the start. Okay. And I did that for about a year and a half. And that was awesome because I felt like I got to be so much more hands-on than just shadowing or kind of watching over people. I was actually, helping out myself. So that was really how I got a large majority of my hours, was through work. I also did some volunteer experience at a hospital that was unrelated to dentistry, and that actually was what helped me kind of filter into dentistry because I was volunteering in a pharmacy department at a hospital, and I realized, wow, I really want more patient interaction. I was working in a pharmacy in the basement of a hospital and felt like it was very secluded. So that definitely confirmed to me that I really wanted to be in a field that was more hands-on, patient-oriented.
Sure. So like it was like almost front row seats when you were like helping out the dentist, how they interact with the patient.
Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. And it was great because I was able to learn what procedures they do on a day-to-day basis, about the materials that they used, their x-ray machines. So it was really, I felt like I learned so much there.
Sure. So now everyone is like applying and waiting for the interviews, and that is like the hot topic of this time period. So can you give us a little bit of advice for people that are going through the interview, what type, how to prep for it, and how to actually engage in the interview? So.
Absolutely. Number one, I think dress code is very important. I think that it's so important to dress conservatively and professionally. You are applying to a professional program, so I would say for girls, definitely be aware of the necklines on your shirt or the lengths of your skirts are very, very important. I know a lot of interviews will take you on tours of the school, so it's also really important to wear comfortable shoes that are professional but also very comfortable. In terms of the actual interview itself, I think that it's just so important to be yourself, to not be nervous, because sometimes when you're nervous you get all tripped up or you get flustered. So they brought you in because they like you and they just want to learn more about you. They want to hear about your experiences. So I would say be yourself. I know that there are a lot of people that are probably super nervous right now or maybe doubting themselves, but I would just say, never doubt yourself. You applied, you're a good applicant, and see what happens, but never doubt yourself. Don't tell yourself that you're not qualified for this.
Yeah, it's true. Like once you get that interview, you really got a very good chance, like a very good chance, a much higher percentage than not of getting accepted into that school. So always be relaxed. Okay. So now for final advice, what do you have for people that are applying or thinking about applying to dental school? There are people like maybe they're not quite sure to go to a different professional school. So what are advice you have for them to lock in on dentistry, or why dentistry in general?
I think one of the most important things is that if you really want to be a dentist, apply to dental school. Don't ever say, oh, I don't really know if I'm cut out for this, or maybe I should try to think about something else. If you really have your heart set on dentistry, apply. The worst that can happen is you get rejected and you apply again.
Yeah.
I think don't be afraid of the application process. It can seem really intimidating, but every year a full class gets accepted. People do it. It's not impossible, so don't think that it is impossible, because people get accepted. We're all here. We're doing it.
Yeah.
So if you really think that you want to do dentistry, I would say don't ever doubt yourself and apply to dental school and see what happens.
Yeah, indeed. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Abdullah.
It was amazing, and we'll
Thank
probably
you.
gonna have more of you in the future videos.
Perfect.